you're not a decision-making body.
Exactly,
or a recommending
exactly,
body, so
yeah.
there are rules that might otherwise apply.
Right, right, our, we are appointed by the
And
city.
you do have bylaws.
I know, yeah, and it doesn't say one way or the other. But we are appointed by the city to give advice, and so I thought maybe it was a good idea that we give some advice. I'm gonna be as brief as possible. Early on, I was sort of in a panic, and I thought that the city was, some of the city leadership was moving toward eliminating the Department of Tourism altogether, and that sort of scared me. I think that is no longer the case. I'm pretty confident that there will be.
Not for another year, anyway.
Right, right, that there will be a Department of Tourism, but that said, it still is within the rights of this body to offer some advice. And one of the things that our bylaws tell us is that if we give advice, it should be in the form of a resolution, but it does not have to be written as stringently as legal resolutions. It just has to be a letter offering advice, and we call it a resolution and give it to them. And, they have no obligation to take our advice whatsoever. So, that said, this is, oh, I had a count there, here we go. This is what I thought we could advise them, and I'm certainly open to any suggestions, alterations, different wording. And I especially didn't know about maintaining the Welcome Center. It would be possible for a director of tourism to operate without a Welcome Center, if they have a phone and a computer.
Or vice
Yes,
versa.
Exactly, yeah.
Or a welcome center to be there and doing its job and helping with, direct people in town as a volunteer or something without actually having a tourism director. Either one of those things are not necessarily dependent on each other.
Right, right, and I think, there are just.
And they can operate independently and together as the situation within the city changes.
Exactly, yes, and, I would be open to even assisting with finding alternate funding or alternate ways of staffing, but I didn't know about that line being in there, that we should staff and maintain. Of course, we could staff it, doesn't mean we have to
Right.
pay.
Well, yeah, and.
So anyway, these were some of my thoughts, and I'm welcome to listen to yours.
I don't think unless you're gonna pay a staff, I don't think the Welcome Center is gonna exist. I don't think it's gonna exist on volunteers alone.
Well, I
agree.
would agree with that, yes,
It's just not gonna happen.
I would agree.
And if it does happen, at what quality level
Right.
is it gonna happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And possibly having somebody there at the Welcome Center, the Welcome Center, maintaining that. One of the things that has been a great service there is the tours that come into town and having a focal point for them and somebody helping coordinate those.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
whether that is an employee of the Welcome Center that is their primary job, is to do that and maybe assist with the staff who are there, rather than the tourism director doing that if we don't find a qualified tourism director. Because I think the main thing is if we get a person into that position, any of these positions should be well qualified and should be people that really enhance the community.
Oh, I agree, yes, yes.
And consistency is my concern.
Right.
If you just have a bunch of different people coming in, are they gonna give a consistent amount of information?
Yeah.
Are they gonna give out the right information on a consistent basis, or is everybody gonna have their own spin?
I think the first time that a tour bus company calls and gets the response, yeah, we don't do that anymore, or we can't do it.
Yeah.
They will never call back.
Right,
They
that's-
will
that's-
never.
Right, and they are a great source of that initial contact. The first time people come to our community, it's often through one of those tours. And I think it really is important that we maintain a process by which that can happen.
Yes. Oh, and I'm a fan of the Welcome Center. I'm not saying,
and
I'm just saying,
I am too.
in a different world, if it were necessary,
Yeah,
a director of tourism could operate without that building, but I don't want that to happen.
No.
right.
So that's why I was
Yeah.
concerned about, should we say that, should we, and if we're, but if
Well,
we're
I think
giving
in a perfect
advice.
world, we're giving advice of what we would like to have happen.
Well, that's right,
Whether
that's
we have
right.
the financial means, you
Yeah.
know, or find the personnel to staff that appropriately.
Right, and I would even, well, I think I put this in an email, that as long as the Welcome Center is staffed now for the down months, I don't think there is any great rush.
No, we've got
You got plenty of time to find
we have
regular
a good
employees
candidate.
who are
Yes,
trained and
Trained.
well-informed.
yes,
Have a work schedule through January.
yeah,
Yeah,
The area lease has agreed to coordinate them in case somebody gets sick or something.
that's good, she's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I would think is if people are calling for arrange tours later in the spring on buses, that we have
Oh,
something
they'll
there.
do it.
I
They
think
can
after
get it done.
January, we need to have something in place.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
gotta have the checks and balances there, so people are getting, yes, this is the person you're talking to.
Right,
And if we have a new person come in, they can have a log of that, so they can call them and say, I'm your new person, let's do this.
so take a minute, read it. I think all we have to do is call it a resolution and give it a number. So as far as I know, this is resolution number 1.
Well, I don't think the Board of Aldermen has any inclination to close the Welcome Center.
Right.
I think everybody recognizes
Yeah.
that we
Yeah,
value
there's a
that.
great value there.
You know, the question is whether to continue with a full-time professional tourism director who's managing a Welcome Center.
Right, and those could be two completely different
It's the
jobs.
marketing versus the operations.
Right,
Yeah.
And I think everybody's committed to the operations. The question is now, how do we do our marketing?
mhm,
And I think lots of possibilities there. And-
Yeah.
And
Right.
I think, honestly, I think the Tourism Advisory Council's function is to advise on the marketing. Not necessarily how you staff the Welcome Center, although I think should anybody was thinking about closing the Welcome Center,
Right.
it would be appropriate for you. to
yeah, I mean,
advise.
and I was just, I mean,
But
that's
that's
not gonna happen,
Yeah,
I
and
recognize
and
that.
this resolution helps, you know, emphasize the importance of that, you know, Welcome Center in the community.
Now, you know, I've been through 2 tourism directors. It's not work I know how to do. I often say this, you know. If Dave Bova quit, I could do his job, because I know that work. You know, if Gary Roth were to not be available, I could run a street department, because I know that work. I couldn't be police chief. I couldn't be the tourism director. I don't know that work.
Yeah,
And, so, you know, I've always kind of relied on the tourism director, you know, it's all a personality thing. I mean,
Yeah.
some people say, well, I know what I'm doing, I'm just gonna do it. In which case, the Tourism Advisory Council, when I first got here, didn't really even need to exist. So we restructured it, formalized it, had to change the city ordinance in order to authorize the mayor and move through this whole thing, and road bylaws. And with the understanding that the function of the Tourism Advisory Council is to advise the tourism director and the Board of Aldermen on how the city should be marketed. And everything else is volunteers. But your assignment is guide the marketing program.
Right.
And I think that will be the case regardless of what
I
happens.
think so.
Who's gonna be in charge of the marketing?
That's the question.
that's
That's-
Okay, because I
that's-
heard it was gonna be contracted out, but I didn't know who that,
That's one
That's an
possibility.
option.
okay.
that's one option.
We've got a kind of three or four or 5 very viable options that could take place.
There are probably a handful of companies that, you know, can regionally, who could do that. You don't want somebody in New York doing it.
No,
They have no sense of the community and, you know.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Yes.
But there are, you know, just companies.
And I think that's-
in St. Louis and, I mean, around who do that. My problem is, you know, it's not a lot of money. It's not gonna be a big contract for anybody. And whatever it is, if we contract it out, we only have that much money, so their pay has to come out of the marketing money.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a finite amount of money that's
Yeah.
budgeted
I
already.
think it's, you know, we need to be conscious of the real economy of the decision, because hiring somebody isn't necessarily cheaper.
Right, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking you're gonna end up
Contracting
paying
it out.
more
You might.
to pay for a marketing
Right.
Or you're gonna
company.
get less marketing.
Right, than to hire a manager or whatever and have them do that.
Well, yeah, in the next few months, the nice thing is we're not paying a salary to the tourism director. that money then is in a fund, even though it's directed towards that
Yeah.
salary. But it's a matter that the city council could, through budgetary means, change some of that, but it's a long drawn out process and maybe not necessarily worth the amount of labor it would take to do that.
Whatever money doesn't get spent out of the general fund, it's just in the general fund.
Yeah.
So it's not earmarked for
Right.
some future use.
Right.
It can be, I mean, the Board of Aldermen can do that, but they don't. And so. I think, and every year is a new budget.
Right.
It's hard to carry things over from
Mhm.
one year
Right.
to the next. I think there is not a sense of urgency, but I think it's an important decision that needs to be made so we don't lose kind of momentum and go into a future budget year.
Well, Mary Elise only wants to be part-time, and so I think it's important that we do put a full-time person in there for that consistency.
But that would be a facility manager,
Yeah.
and it's a lower, kind of
Right,
a lower role, and I think that's being,
That's the
I
direction
have a job
we're
description
going.
written for that, so
Okay.
I'm ready. If the board says that's how I wanna go, I'm ready to advertise for it.
okay.
But it's gotta be more than just turning on the lights.
Right.
And keeping the floors clean.
Yeah, and there's
It's gotta
gotta
be coordinating with the stakeholders, being engaged in the community
Mhm.
events.
Mhm.
It's just, the only thing that's gonna be missing is the marketing.
Did Sandra help you with the job description? Because that's pretty lengthy,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
she did a lot.
We had a job description that predated
Okay.
Stephanie. And I gave it to Sandra, and she had already worked up something, so she kind of
Okay,
went into the,
because I can see that
yeah, it's 3
being
pages.
lengthy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually, might be a little too long. Kind of like a resume, it can be too long.
A full ad in the newspaper.
Somebody says, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, should it come to hiring a tourism director, you don't wanna scare them away. with the
That's
job
exactly right.
You can sleep on alternate Thursdays.
If they're odd numbered.
So I don't know, what are your intentions? I mean, to come to, the Board of Aldermen will discuss this in a work session.
Right,
It may be covered, the first thing we're gonna cover in the 5 o'clock work session Thursday is we have this capital expenditure fund where for all you read about the budget, the city's pretty economically healthy. And we don't have extra money, but, the problem is covering your regular expenses out of current revenues and not drawing down your capital reserves, which are healthy. There is no magic number for how much you should have in reserve, and different cities do different things. Some as low as 25% of their operating expenses, some on a year's worth. Some do it based on worst case scenarios, like if the bridge went out, how much money would I need to fix the bridge? So I don't, I've always kind of been in that year's worth of operating expense mode, and we've got that. Now, we have more than that. So the question for the Board of Aldermen is considering is if you have more than that, it has to be spent for capital purposes. What projects do you want to undertake? Beyond what you would have done normally. That's the first topic for a week from Thursday. The second topic is, what are we gonna do here? I have an older person who says, give me all, don't just call me to a meeting and ask me to decide, give me my options first. So I will be working on that between now and next Tuesday.
well, that's good, if they wanna know what are some possibilities, yeah.
Well, and if money, I mean, I don't wanna say money's not an object, but if it is, what you're saying is true as far as the budget and everything is, it's okay, then why is it under such a debate about whether or not to keep this department?
Well,
I mean,
because for every dollar I'm spending on a marketing director is a pothole I'm not fixing. So that's the discussion.
Well,
Is what are the
Marketing
priorities
director
of the
would be,
city?
would be a new expense.
my concern is you're gonna have all these nice streets with no holes, but nobody's gonna be
Yeah.
walking. on them.
Exactly.
Nobody's gonna be
Exactly.
visiting.
You know, that's-
So it's trying to find that balance.
So,
And that's, and, you know, there are disagreements among some of the aldermen, some
Right.
think the money should be spent elsewhere.
Right.
And so
The way it works, yeah.
so by providing a resolution and a unified front of things that you kind of give them a guideline, is this is what a lot of the citizens that are involved in tourism feel that would be a good thing for the community for the aldermen to fund these things in this way.
And this really comes with no power, this is just,
Right.
Right.
they've asked us to give
Well,
advice.
Suggestion.
Yeah,
And-
and it comes with the power,
And,
to me, with the authority that they've set you up and they've appointed you.
Right.
Right.
What's the point of having a tourism advisory
Yeah.
council if nobody listens, nobody listens?
Yeah, and if we're not ever gonna give any advice. So I guess the question is, do we wanna use this line in there, we advises the city to employ a director of tourism, or to say, or to not put that in there, to advise the city to market and promote the city?
Well, or we
In
can
whatever
we
way
can do
they
a
feel
statement
best.
that has all of those things included, to maintain the Department of Tourism, including in that same statement, to keep the visitor center open, to seek to employ a director of tourism and or an outside marketing firm, giving them kind of giving them more options to pick from the menu, so they can make, so they can give them an opportunity to decide what they wanted to do. Because
Well, they're going to decide.
but right, but we can also let them know that we're aware of some of their decisions and that we want to have this thing.
Before we decide on that, Mark, can you tell us what the consensus is of the board right now? Do you know? I mean, are they split?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you one thing, going through, the flood this summer, even though we weren't flooded, you definitely feel the pinch when tourism's not here, and it wasn't here this
Yeah.
summer.
Oh, yeah.
So there is a definite market for tourism in this town, and it hurts all of us when they don't come. They would call Sandra and say, are you all flooded? No, we're not flooded, come on down, you know.
I don't think the issue is that they think the tourism is not viable in the community. I think the issue is whether they wanna spend the money for the director and the marketing
Marketing.
firm. So,
but if you just hire a marketing firm with no director, who's
That-
gonna meet the
right.
people?
I
Who's
think
gonna,
they're-
you know,
Right.
That, they need to work in tandem,
yes,
Yeah.
I agree.
you know.
I'm just thinking that's just,
And can you have a tourism center director for just the tourism center that has the savvy to work with a marketing firm? Is that person going to have those characteristics
I think,
without
should
having
we
a
go
tourism
with
director?
a marketing consultant, the role of the Tourism Advisory Council will have to be elevated? I mean,
Well, I think the thing is.
I will administer the contract, but I think it'll be you
But
who
I
will be
think
meeting with that
the-
marketing company.
I think the people that are on the TAC have got so much experience with the historic buildings, with all that history and things here. I think they have a lot of valid points to teach this marketing firm how we see the town being marketed. And if we have a marketing firm that is willing to listen to that and take that advice, that would be a really good thing. But I've had a couple experiences with marketing firms, and they're not worth the powder keg to blow them across the bridge.
I fear that is the case.
And because they want to sell you their product already packaged, and they don't want to listen to what the nuances of your community are. That's the hard part, is finding a marketing firm that wants to set their
I
ego
spent years
aside.
developing this template, I'm gonna impose it on you.
Right,
I
Yeah.
just
right.
remember years ago when we hired a marketing firm to help brand St. Genevieve. And just to decide a logo took 9 months because they kept pushing their agenda or their issues on, and they didn't know anything about St. Genevieve. And they were based out of St. Louis. They were a great company, but they just did
My same
not
experience.
know about our community. They had, and what
Yeah.
they were presenting us
I
was
think
not
somebody
even
needs to
close.
express this to the board of aldermen other than me.
there are some research companies out there that specifically, well, they specialize in historic towns. They come around and they do a lot of research and whatever, and then they tell you what is the best things to market and whatever. It's kind of like combination research and marketing firm, and there's, I'm not sure where it is, I'd have to look it up again, but I was really impressed by the work. It's a lady that owns this company, and they go to, she had all the different historic towns that she had gone to, and they do this research about the town, and then they tell you, this is one of your greatest assets, or this is what you should be, emphasizing or whatever. And if we could find somebody that specializes in both research and marketing, not just an umbrella marketing company.
Who's doing
Mhm.
Ritz Cracker in St. Genevieve.
Yeah.
I agree. You need a boutique marketing firm, not a,
Right.
Yeah, and somebody has experience in small historic towns.
Yeah, and that, I found that, and I'm gonna have to find it again.
Well, my other concern is, what role is NPS gonna play?
That's
in
what I was
this?
gonna ask too.
none.
They don't market,
They
they
don't
have,
market.
they
I
don't
know
market.
they don't, but I mean, they're going to be here.
Oh, they're
so
gonna
they-
make a huge difference in the number of people who come
They're
to the city.
occupying a
So we
space and they
have to
have a
have
sign.
someone-
You have to have someone to,
You know
Oh,
what I'm
I don't
saying?
think, well,
to be able to,
I agree with that.
you have to.
Because they
You know,
won't,
the
they
arrowhead on the
will
highway-
manage their properties.
Right,
And you might get residual benefit from that, but they're not gonna refer someone
no,
to a restaurant,
no.
or to a shop. I mean, they're just not
Or
gonna do that.
B&B, yeah. They're gonna have their arrowhead on the highway, and that's gonna draw people in, but once they get here,
And they're not going to answer the phone and arrange itineraries and
No.
bus tours.
Right.
Now, it is my experience that if you are in a national park site and you ask them a specific question, they'll give you an answer. They won't say, oh, we don't know anything about restaurants. They will tell you, oh yeah, you can eat anywhere in town. It'll be good.
That's kinda what we do.
yeah, well, yeah, I do that, I don't try
Yeah.
to give anybody any one more attention than
Yeah.
another, but because they are all.
But it is not their job. They will not market
No.
the city, and they don't even actually market their own properties.
So they don't advertise.
They put them on
No.
the map. They don't advertise.
Put the sign out, put it on the web,
Put it on the
their
map, put it
website,
on the
and
website. Mhm.
And they
then,
come.
Yeah.
No, that's why they're so excited about coming to St. Genevieve, is because we do. And they see that as,
A
being
plus,
supportive
yeah.
of their efforts, and
Mhm.
I probably know more than I should say, so I'm not going to say. But,
Well, I can say this.
but I think that the city should be prepared to
Yes,
work on establishing a strong relationship with the National Park Service and staff.
partners. Mhm.
And I think they would be receptive to that.
And I can say this, because it's a fact, that I had reached out to the National Park Service because, unrelated to tourism, but the foundation has the Mecker Library that is grossly underused and under-advertised or under-organized. And so I asked them, do you have librarians and archivists that could give us some advice? They came down yesterday, they were delightful. I mean, it's the kind of thing that
Is
National.
there one about Sylvia?
Well, they didn't talk about that, no.
I understand they're looking for the building.
But it's the kind of work they will also do.
Have technical advices like.
They will help any entity.
I said, I would like to improve the pedestrian access to the national park site from downtown.
Right.
I
Amen.
talked about doing that
Yeah.
last year. They told me to hold off because they said, well, until we are established, we can't bring the weight of our influence on a funding decision. So you gotta wait till the national park's here, then do it,
And
and then we
will,
can.
and they will help, yeah. Well, the people who came down yesterday were delightful and helpful and that's good, that's a good thing.
I just feel like the person, if we're going to encourage the city to have that person in the Welcome Center, they have to be prepared that's happening. Like, I know people read it in the newspaper, I don't know that they really consume it until they're like,
Not
oh,
everybody reads the
what's all these
paper."
people here? Well, you're a national park, oh, yeah, we are.
Not only that, but they misconstrue it.
They truly do, so that person
How
also,
many people say, well, we don't have to worry about this anymore because the National Park
Right.
Service is gonna be doing it. No,
right,
no.
So then this person needs a high level of political astuteness to interact with city, state, and federal leaders.
well,
Yeah,
I
see,
think
that's
a-
beyond the Welcome Center manager's function.
right.
Yeah.
That's why the
Okay.
tourism director position is important, because that does happen.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Okay, so tell me what you're thinking. Leave it as is, change it, reword it?
I should say,
Oh, yes, you can. We welcome all your we welcome everybody's comments.
I'm hearing that you would like to have a tourism director.
Yes.
Yes.
That's important, so I think you ought to recommend that.
Okay.
And then say, but short of that, employ a qualified person who can
Handle the
market,
tour.
market St. Genevieve with the money available in a representative fashion.
Yeah,
So, as somebody who's gonna come here is going to get a sense of the local environment and what's important and what's not important. You talk about research, if there's any place that's been researched,
Mhm.
it's St. Genevieve.
Yeah.
You
It's in her library.
don't have to discover, the hidden gems.
No.
They've been identified, you just have to figure out how to get the word out.
Right, how to market it.
So, I mean, I think you have a preference and you ought to express your preference.
yeah. And again, I think we need to
And we need to say things like you said.
Which one?
You know, small businesses in the
Oh,
downtown
yeah.
area are,
We're very dependent on, we're 100% dependent
yeah,
on
Right.
it doesn't take much
Right.
to,
when you feel that pinch, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It's
Right.
when it's
Well, and
weather related even, if it's a really bad rainy day, we feel that, you know?
Well, and all the parties to this need to be, including TAC, TTC, the tourism director if we have one, or the tourism site manager, and the marketing firm all need to work together in an integrated marketing plan to have a continuity that goes throughout all the alphabet soup and everything.
and, you know, but the properties downtown, and I think this is a kind of a, beyond the economic development and jobs and whatever. I mean, you're in a building that was being demolished by neglect, and, you know, you saved it.
Right,
You opened the store, you're maintaining the building that would be
Mhm.
vacant if you weren't there.
right.
Yeah, like my villa was vacant for.
Yeah,
Yeah. A lot of
Downtown-
businesses are in historic
downtown
buildings.
looks like downtown looks, because the property owners
Mhm.
have an incentive to take care of them and wanna generate an ambiance that engages people.
Mhm.
Right.
And if you take that away, if you take tourism
Right.
away,
It says that
They will all
downtown looks like every other.
they will
It'll
all
die.
downtown, every
It'll
other
die.
city.
It'll look like St. Mary's.
Well, it will,
I should
it
say.
will start dying by neglect, yeah.
Right.
You know, half of my business is tourism. Well, that business, even though I do it for fun, it wouldn't survive on half the
And you
business.
do it for fun, but it's still for profit.
But for profit,
Right.
yeah, I do it for fun, but I
You're
don't
not
want,
a charity.
but I don't, exactly, yeah.
Yes.
So a sentence like this that says something that, in the absence of a tourism director, the city should employ a welcome center manager who is able to interact with city, state, and federal leaders.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it's asking a little much.
they have to have.
You
Well,
do.
but also need to coordinate marketing in that state, in that sentence,
Well,
somewhere with that
the
person.
qualifications for someone who's able to engage in
What?
lobbying, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
is
Or
different
within the
from
community.
Somebody who can run the.
Right, I think we should just try to push for a director of tourism who's qualified to do the marketing, because if we get a director of tourism, they're not gonna have the funds to hire out the marketing as well.
No, it's either or.
Yeah, it's an either
So,
or, yeah.
it's like, let's get someone who can do it all, who, like we had, who could do it all, and,
No.
and,
And again, we're talking about budgets here. I don't anticipate hiring anyone at the level of Sandra's salary, so, I mean, I think we've got sufficient funds in the budget to hire somebody.
Yeah.
May not be quite as skilled as Sandra at all the things that she was capable of doing.
I watched that Board of Alderman meeting the
Yeah.
other night where they were discussing, I watched it on YouTube, and it frightened me, like you, how quick they were to jump on we can just throw this part out and save money, and we can just throw this part out and save money. And I'm like, it's not gonna save us money in the long run if all of our businesses die. So I really do think we need a tourism director that can also market the town.
Well, and I think also what
My
we need,
personal
I'm not your audience.
I know.
in this search for the person that we would like to have, we need to be able to put together a packet for these people to market our town to them, to get them excited about coming in and marketing the town. And so when we were looking at interviewing these people, we need to be able to sell them on us.
Yeah, that's
The
the other thing.
enthusiasm that we have here.
I think there's a role for the Tourism Advisory Council
And
selecting
it's,
consultant.
right, and being,
That's-
but that's part of that is working with TAC to create a marketing plan for us to this new person. Which kind of tells them, this is who we are, this is where we've been, this is where we
Right.
think we're going, we want you to help us do that.
And that can be a discussion for another day.
Yeah,
You know,
but I
this
think
is,
that's
you
all,
know,
but,
the sort of
going,
focus of.
going forward, if we.
Exactly,
If
yeah.
we set this resolution to them, then we need to be prepared to do our part
Right.
on the back end of it.
Mhm. Right, yeah.
So if any of them want to apply after moving in Sandra. we can-
They will, some people will apply.
Again, Sandra has skills that not, a few people could bring to the table, and I don't know that we should necessarily write a job description around what she was able to do, because she was, had a lot of experience in various fields, and we were lucky to have her for the period of time that we did, given the conditions under which she was working. But it's time to make another decision.
That's right, yeah.
And Martin, when is this meeting, the 12th, you said? The work session?
It's a work session before the regular meeting, and then maybe after the regular meeting. So I hate to kind of invite you to the 5:05 meeting,
And then
and then have to stay home after the regular meeting, although this time of year, there's not, the agendas are not big, because there's no construction going on, we haven't got contracts to approve, it's one of those slow times of the year for the city as well.
You just have to hang Christmas wreaths.
It's today.
Are they coming to get them today? 'Cause
I
they're
asked
still-
Gary yesterday,
they're
and he
still
said
in my
it's
shop.
tomorrow, and that would be today.
They're still in my shop.
Yeah.
well, then we need to get you out of here so you can get down there and open the doors.
busy.
Well, that's why I thought.
Little
people
things
wanna
become
get into the
controversial,
shops.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Who's gonna hang them? Who's gonna put the lights up?
I mean, I think
It's
Sarah, what you
always
did
do.
here is really good. I
It's
mean,
always
other
do.
than
I
adding
mean,
Or
we
you
can,
go.
we can
here.
certainly,
Oh,
we
no.
can certainly
Amend
alter it in
the
any way.
Yeah.
And then I think this
So-
forwarded to the
Darn,
alderman.
I don't
Yeah,
think
but
that it
there's
needs
lights
to
on.
be altered, though. You hit some really
No.
good points
Yeah,
that
I
you feel.
agree,
Yeah.
I think it's.
And-
You know, I mean,
it is.
its purpose is to say to the alderman, we're here, we're concerned, and we want you to think of these things when you start preparing a budget a year from now. But in the meantime, business as usual. We need
All right, well, here's
something
what
going
you
on.
Martin, I have one question for you.
Come to the 5:05 meeting, see if it gets covered at 5:05. If not, why don't I put the Tourism Advisory Council on for personal appearances? And then you can kind of make your statement, and decide whether you want to hang around for later discussion or not.
So we should all come to this?
Well, that's up to you. Somebody should.
Yeah, well, we can do that. I mean, I thought we could
Let's do that.
send them this in paper form, you know, give it something.
Somebody's gotta make that statement. It's not for tourists.
Say what?
Somebody has to,
Just, yeah,
I can give them a piece of paper, and I can talk in my normal, non-emotive way, and it won't get anybody's juices flowing. There's kind of passion in the statement that,
Yeah.
my business depends on this.
Well, but
We
I
feel
don't,
like
I don't
we
know
can
that,
do budgets.
and I don't know that the aldermen feel the same pain we feel, you know, as far as
Some of
the
them.
urgency or the passion that we have for the town, you know, we're not doing, it's not for us personally, you know, it's how we feel about the town, and if you don't have the passion for the town to make it better.
See, I couldn't make that statement, you can.
Right.
and I have,
They don't,
try.
they don't.
Yeah, I know, me too.
So,
Yeah,
I don't
me too.
understand.
I know.
as a, and
have
as
the-
a,
Go ahead.
just as a citizen and a shop owner, I have indicated that to the alderman. I have sent,
It was an email, it was
I have sent
very to the point.
several emails that I thought were kind of blunt, but I also don't create the attitude that they can say, well, yeah, she owns a shop, of course she wants a tourism
Right.
director,
That is-
it benefits her,
Right.
and that's probably
There are
their
members
response.
who
Yeah,
express that.
yeah, I'm certain,
But
I'm
as
sure.
Kelly just
Yeah.
stated, it doesn't really benefit you guys. It's not like you guys are over here living high off the hog
Yeah.
as a small
No,
business.
I don't know.
Right.
You know,
So,
Tell me, well, I never go downtown.
I know.
So
And
why
that's
are they our
heartbreaking.
aldermen? I mean, I don't.
They don't represent
I'm
downtown.
Sorry, I don't,
somebody elected them, Kelly.
yeah.
Who was it that said elections have consequences?
So that's why I've kind of not gone,
Plato.
not gone, not gone to meetings in person, because I thought, It's just going to
Right.
enhance their view, well, she's just shooting her mouth off because she owns a shop.
I don't even live here. This is the thing. I'm an outsider completely. I don't even live here. I have played in St. Genevieve all my life. I've always grown up around St. Genevieve, thought it was the coolest town on earth. I've always wanted to have a shop here. It was my dream, and I got my dream, and I realized I wouldn't have wanted to be here if it weren't for tourism.
Yeah.
So you're now the spokesperson for this meeting. Because what you just said is very important.
Great.
I mean, seriously, you needed to say the exact same thing you
But
just
there's
said.
so many shop owners who have come as a result of being a
Yeah.
tourist.
Right, especially B&B
Yeah.
owners. They came and stayed in a B&B and they fell in love with the B&B. It went for sale, they bought it because,
Or who purchased and rehabilitated property.
Right.
right, I love the
When
Brooks
they-
house before it was ever red and yellow. I painted it that,
The
you know,
The Brucelings are here because that's, you
yeah,
know.
right.
Yeah.
So Martin, did Mary Liz give you an idea of how long she would stay interim?
I think she'll do it.
Until
Well,
they
I
find
don't-
someone.
She's being compensated, and I think she's got a schedule she's comfortable with, and she'll
Okay.
continue to do it. She won't go full-time, though.
Right.
No, she doesn't want that position.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, she's comfortable with the day-to-day operation of the paperwork.
Plus, I mean, I think we got a great group of people there, you know, I think right now, we've got well-informed, intelligent people who are committed to the community, and you know, but that turnover,
mhm,
it doesn't take long before you have to replace one.
Yeah.
right.
And I'm not reflecting
Right.
ill on any of them, it's just like, kind of high turnover. And, so that person who's in that position has to be able to
Mhm.
keep the staffing up, find people. Mary Lee's didn't want to hire them, she didn't want to hire people,
Yeah,
I don't blame them.
yeah, I don't.
No, that's
Yeah,
not
that's
for
not her, well,
everybody.
that's
is
not
it?
her personality, so
No.
it's hard to. I mean, I'm good
I'm
with
good with it
this,
too.
I don't know if you wanna add a few other things that we kinda talked about, but I mean, other than that, I think.
The only
that-
thing you could do is just keep rearranging the same words.
Yeah.
Saying it in a
And I
different
mean,
way.
Yeah, I mean,
we're all shop
and you
owners,
could-
so
right.
who,
Well, yeah,
who do
well,
we
yeah,
get
and
in?
we all,
use that-
and we all think that basically a full-time director, if we get the right person, is the best way to go.
Right.
And if we can't do that, or they decide not to fund that, then we have to have some funds available for marketing.
So someone said,
Or
the
that
people
marketing-
who are doing marketing now, who, you know, who live in St. Genevieve, and they could maybe, but, are there, you know, are you aware of anyone who's got those skills that could take over that role for St. Genevieve?
Well, Iggy's got a marketing company, but it's really specific to his skill set, which is, I think, different than tourism per se.
What about Jen, I mean, she just resigned from downtown because she's moved or has moved to Arnold. But isn't that what she did?
Well, she did marketing, but she did it for a big corporation.
For Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, so,
It's more of an
and that's a,
analysis, marketing analysis that she
Okay.
yeah,
does.
more, yeah, it wasn't actually direct hands-on marketing, it was analyzing all the stats and stuff.
So it's unlikely we'll find a local that, who's, kind of meets your expectations.
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
There might
but
be
they,
someone
you know,
out there we just don't know about.
Yeah, we don't know who, you know, who has college, you know, and basically has that experience and stuff before they moved here, so.
You know, we could possibly ask, you know, Joe Rozier for some input, I mean, that's what he did for many years.
That's true.
And he might have some resources or some colleagues that could potentially be suitable for us internally.
I have great respect for him.
Yeah. I mean, there was a girl in Perryville, her name was Nicole Shrimp, she had a marketing firm, but I don't know what she's doing
She gave me
anymore.
her
Closest
card.
I've heard about is Kate, but
Yeah, and I think her firm is in Cape, but she's from
She came in
Perryville.
my store one time and was
Yeah.
telling me that, yeah.
So she might be in, I'm not sure,
Bold.
Bold Marketing and out of Jackson, Cape Girardeau, they're pretty good too.
But it's not the same people. no.
I don't think so. Nicole's a different, I think she's her own company, and I don't know what the name of it is, but Bold Marketing and Cape would be really good. I know that the Cape Chamber and the Jackson Chamber both use them.
yeah, I think that's the name I've heard.
Yeah. And I have a
Sandra gave me a
contact.
list of, and I don't want to say she's not gonna do it, she hasn't done it, although she said, you know, just because
I have a
no longer
contact for
payroll, but I
both
mean, I
if
would
we need it.
continue to share information with you.
Yeah.
Well, how about this? How about if we forward this resolution to the aldermen and then make it known to them that we are available to give additional advice, to assist, should it come to either hiring a tourism director or a marketing firm.
Again,
Oh,
I
that's a
think
good idea.
that's very consistent with the purpose for which you were established.
Yeah.
And then once that decision is made for us, then we work with whichever of those entities
Right,
we're
Right.
given.
Do we wanna forward it to them and also be present at the next meeting? Or do we just wanna forward this to them?
Would it help or hurt for us to go?
I think it would help, in my personal
I'm willing to
opinion.
go if it will help. If it's going to hurt, I don't wanna go, I don't wanna, like you said, if you think that they're just going to look at us as,
I mean, I'm willing to go, I just think they,
I'd like you, I mean, I think if they're gonna discuss tourism,
you think we
your
should be there?
presence would be important. I just can't guarantee it's gonna happen Thursday night. I hate to have you come and then, other
I mean,
than
I
putting
see
you
how-
on the agenda and giving you a spot to express yourselves, depend on whether or not they're gonna wanna continue that discussion that night. I mean, they've gotta discuss it eventually, but
I see how all of you perceive it because you're all small business owners, but I'm not a small business owner. So I could speak on behalf of my members who are small business owners, and I could speak on just, you know, as a board member of this organization, I'd be happy to do that if that's something that you guys don't wanna do because you don't want it to be perceived as,
I'll tell you that one of the questions, and I'm speaking out of school here, that you should forewarn you. One of the questions is that the tax dollars that everybody's, contributes to the general fund are being used to fund an activity that benefits a smaller group of landowners. Now, I think that's true no matter what you do, so I'm not sure. But the question is if this is an economic development activity, as people are fond of saying it is, the organizations that are responsible, like the Industrial Development Corporation, for spurring economic development, should they be involved? Should the chamber be involved? Should we have, maybe a different structure than we've got now, where the agencies that have a role in this, whether are at the table, rather than just kind of going off in our little silos and doing our thing. And so that's been brought up. I'm not advising it or talking against it, I'm just saying it'll come up again.
yeah.
I think that's a valid point, and I think the answer is, well, sure, you know.
Yeah,
we would be-
until they ask you to write a check.
Yeah. But I think anybody would be willing to work with the IDC.
I'm going to a
or
meeting,
any other-
later in the week that is engaging the county with the IDC. I think it's an appropriate meeting, but it's kind of a conversation that maybe ought to take place more frequently.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we don't do
I
that, we
think
all
that's
kind of
the
do
hope.
our own thing.
That's the hope of that meeting next week, is that it will start something.
Yeah, but again, the economic development can't be
Mhm.
It can't be
a
pinpointed, it can't
city
be single laser.
versus the county
Right.
versus a chamber. I mean, it's gotta be
Together.
cohesive, or it doesn't work.
So for the meeting Thursday, the tourism is not on the agenda? I mean,
It's
because
not now.
we should
I haven't set
probably,
the agenda till next Tuesday.
we should probably go to the one that it's on the agenda so we know for sure that they're gonna be discussing it.
There will be a list of things on the agenda for a work session, which may or may not get covered at the time they're willing to vote to it. So I know we're gonna do the capital improvement thing, because that's been scheduled for quite a while. Whether they then, I don't know what it's gonna take. But if it takes 15 minutes, we got 45 minutes to talk about something else. So I'm gonna put items on the agenda, including this, that will use up that time. On the other hand, the capital improvement discussion could use up that time, in which case those items will not be addressed unless they want to reconvene the work session after the regular meeting or schedule a future work session.
Will you put us high on that list, Martin? Or are you
I
gonna?
gotta put the capital improvements first.
First, right, but
You'll
underneath
be
that?
next.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay,
And that's what, Thursday?
The 12th?
The 12th?
12 at 5 p.m.
12th,
The 12th.
yeah, 5 p.m. work session. With the meeting, the regular session, a regular meeting
Meetings at 6.
at
It
6,
should last less than an hour.
Okay, so what time is the,
5 p.m.
that's when
Work
we should
session
be
is
there?
5.
for the work
And
session.
where is it?
It's in-
in City Hall.
So we should be there at 5.
5:15. We'll start at 5.
Yeah, okay. We'll walk in and disrupt and
And,
Thursday.
and given the opportunity, Dina will speak on our behalf.
Sure, if you give me this list, I'll have to try out this.
And we'll all be there in support
Right.
and raucously applaud when you're.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I need all that.
My advice,
Banners.
I mean, Sarah's kind of pointed it out, is, I think it's important for Dina to speak because it raises it above a shop
Individual
owner
shop owners, yeah.
pleading their case.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Hmm?
I just do.
No pressure, no pressure.
Well, that's why I say, should we be there, should we not be?
Well,
there?
but your
It's like-
comments, I think, no offense to Dina, but she's an agency director, she's not a shop owner. I think the shop owner's statements about the lifeblood of their business is important.
And if we do well, the city does well, you know, I mean, it's,
Well, I'd like to see the data. I've been told.
That's the
That's the crux of
rub,
the
that it's-
problem,
Yes, that it's hard to, it's hard to
They want
quantify.
they want
How?
hard figures.
How
I'm
many,
spending $100,000 a year.
and how many
Show me.
dollars, how many
Yes.
dollars are brought in by tourism and how much, the only thing you can measure is sales tax, and that's not a real.
No, but I've been doing that.
It
We
does-
set that up 9 years ago.
Right, it doesn't necessarily reflect
So
all
we
tourism
reflect
dollars.
the general
Right.
sales tax movement, so up, down, over,
it'll
whatever.
go way down.
And then and then we track what we call the tourism-sensitive businesses, such as yours. Now, we, 3 people in City Hall have access to the individual data. We're pledged to confidentiality, so I can't talk about it, except if we talk about inclusion.
General list, yeah.
And what we've noticed is that the tax revenue from the tourism-sensitive businesses rise faster than the overall sales tax does, and falls more slowly. They track, but the tourism businesses are always kind of ahead of the curve on the upside and behind the curve on the downside. How much money does that convert to in terms of city coffers? And what would happen if we weren't spending $100,000 a year? I don't know, because we don't have any data prior to the city's decision to market the city that can tell us that.
It's because all of our sales
And
tax is
and as
on
the
the
mayor
board.
says, if you stop spending it, it'll be too late when you discover
Mhm.
that it was important, because you've lost your momentum in the
Right.
marketplace.
Mhm.
Right. And as far as our being there, well, sure, we have a right to be there, I mean, we're all
Oh, it's a public
citizens.
meeting.
It's a public
Not
meeting,
a
absolutely,
liar.
yeah,
What's the impression that you would,
right.
Right, that's the,
well, that's just those downtown people storming the Bastille.
Well, I can tell you that I've had colleagues from around the state when the press release came out that Sandra resigned. One of my very good friends reached out to me and he said, what's the plan? And I said, well, I don't know that they know right now. And he goes, that's not good. And I said, I know, that's what we're trying to prevent, and so it's not just us in our community, it's other communities that see St. Genevieve also as a gem to our state that they're watching and they're worried that, this little community just now became a national park and their tourism director resigned. So what's the plan? So.
Well, we'll encourage the aldermen to have a plan that we love.
Well, I mean, I haven't been that long with the tourism, the city government didn't have a plan. I mean, they started funding tourism in 2011, 2009. The first year they put general fund money into marketing the city.
Is there no data to back that up? I mean, can you not see a distinctive trend in before and after you did that?
Nobody was monitoring my decision to identify these industries where we extract the data from the state as it comes in, create a graph that shows the differences. Nothing like that was being done before. Could it be done? Maybe. But if you
It'd be
going
hard
through
to
our
back
archival data and trying to
reproduce the whole
figure it
data, that'd be difficult, yeah.
and, you know, you got the issue of change in the tin roof data restaurant, you know, how relevant would that be? I don't know.
Yeah.
That should be worth the effort.
Hmm,
I don't know that it'd be worth the effort.
okay.
And again, in one of the tourism, the issue here is scale. While the downtown merchants' contribution to the sales tax has that movement that I was telling you about,
Mhm.
it's a small percentage of the overall sales tax revenues, so it doesn't drive anything.
Exactly. And if we had a whole lot more commerce, we'd have more sales tax, but we don't have more retail commerce.
Something else.
So you're saying if we took away all the shops and all the restaurants and all the lodging, you wouldn't feel that?
Yeah, we'll do it. City Hall's not gonna close.
You would feel it in other ways besides the lack of dollars. You know, it's not.
I think the most, to me, and it's the third time I've said it now. We have a downtown that exists because of the shop owners.
It's the salvation of.
It's the
buildings.
reason those buildings have crumbled.
Mhm.
And every time I drive downtown, particularly at night when the lights are on, I go, wow. Every time I bring someone to town that says, why can't my town look like this?
Mhm.
Well, it's because
I had guests in last week that it said the exact same thing, that they just happened to stroll in the evening and they loved our downtown so much they booked a room in St. Jimbo Bay and they stayed the whole weekend. And it was just random,
Spontaneous.
very spontaneous, they
Mhm.
just, yeah. So, very
Well,
nice.
the thing I said I haven't come to grips with and can't understand is why our general commercial development is problematic. I just haven't figured that out, because towns smaller than St. Genevieve seem to have retailers that for some reason are coming here, and I don't know what it is. I guess they're afraid of the competition from the downtown workers.
Oh, yeah, we're scary.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, those communities don't have that. I mean,
Right.
Well, they have a larger commercial area, retail area, but they don't have a downtown. A lot of those communities.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it's
Yeah,
either or.
yeah.
It's either or.
Right.
Sure,
I don't know, there aren't many who have vibrant downtowns.
right. Well, I just wrote down your quote, so I'm gonna use it
Which ones?
next week. We have a downtown that exists because
Oh, yeah,
the
that's,
shop owners.
Yeah. Okay, well, if we're in agreement, I think we can move on.
uh,
Anybody have anything else to bring to the table?
No?
everybody have someplace else to go?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
It's not ice cream season.
I mean,
Somebody was
we're
asking
moving on.
Saturday, they wanted ice cream Saturday.
For those of you who don't, Dina would be glad to entertain you.
Well, thank you very much, thanks for your input.
That was a good discussion, very lively, very well informed. I enjoyed that. Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
No trouble.